want the exact blueprint and formula for getting viral views on your short form content for Instagram Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, then this video is going to give you the complete breakdown of exactly what to do, the scripting, and how to approach short form content in order to skyrocket your personal brand and go viral with video content. This presentation is from a virtual event that I recently had with my business partner Mo Ismail, who is the wizard behind some of the biggest influencers in the real estate space and their short form content, where he breaks down how to guarantee the videos go massively viral and get tens of thousands, even millions of views on many of the content, and how you can replicate this for your own business. So if you're serious about taking short form content to the next level and attracting clients at scale, you do not want to skip a single second of this, because he breaks down the formula that he does not share anywhere else but here. Now, before we get into it, I will link all of Mo's content below, as well as another video we did breaking down short form content for realtors, but this is one that breaks down the science of it and gives you the exact roadmap of how to crush it with short form this year. So without further ado, let's bring on Mo and show you the ninja tricks of how to skyrocket your personal brand and get viral views with short form.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I can't see you in the chat. Usually it's more interactive for me, but I hope you guys are pumped after Mike's presentation. And now I'm really just going to be another meal in this hella course dinner that you guys are having today on this summit. So my objective is to teach you how to make viral 1 million viewed videos to grow your personal brand, specifically short form, where you can see that YouTube is taking a huge investment into that now with monetizing short form, trying to compete with the likes of TikTok and Instagram Reel. So if you're here thinking that I'm going to teach you how to do this by dancing or by pointing at the camera or by doing a little bit of whatever that is, I'm not your guy. My intention is to help you articulate your genius in a way that people can actually listen and in a way that people want to actually watch to grow your personal brand with video. And we've done this countless of times with many people across various industries and various professions. And we have a large group of professionals that are in the real estate space, whether loan officers or real estate agents, where we've helped them do this. And much of the pre-framing that I'm going to give you here, Mike has already talked about. This is not strictly to sell. This is to pre-market. So you want to be known before they ever have the intention of buying from you. And these are the results that my team and I are able to get for people like yourself, that then translate into significantly easier conversation, higher interest from the buyer, and then more inquiries to where you don't even ever have to pick up the phone. I was on a phone call with Rene Rodriguez not too long ago, and he was like, it was him and his wife, and he was like, how much business has Mo generated for us in just the past 6 months? And they were throwing around numbers, and then his wife, who is his COO, she opens up the piano. I was like, oh, about 350,000. And we haven't even crossed a year yet. So this is the power of being able to show up intentionally with content on a day-to-day basis in short bursts that don't require a lot of effort for you to get these results that then translate into money. So before I jump into it, and I'm trying to move as fast as Mike here for the purposes of time, there is a perspective shift that needs to happen. Meaning many of you right now are equating quality with production value. Why? I know this because I see it, especially in the real estate space. You get a very expensive videographer to come out there at the house with you and do these incredibly wowing shoots that only get a few views. The day and time for ad type videos is over. The flexing era is over. We don't care. What we care for as an audience is you getting us closer to our desired future result. So we're going to change quality into a different meaning, showing up regularly with a clear and organized message that the audience can understand. And we need to change that mindset so you guys can actually execute on this at scale. Now, here's why. Message over aesthetic is a priority because you get to lower the bar of entry. The last thing Mike said is, don't get in your own way. You need to execute. You need to make sure that you do it. This is probably the easiest way. So if you have a phone right now and you have some AirPods, you should be able to start making video. Why? Because base level production allows you to come across more relatable, and then you can scale that production value over time. Another reason is it allows you to batch shoot at scale. If I were to able to have you raise your hands, I'm sure none of you have time anymore. So what if in the span of 3 hours, you were able to make a month's worth of content? And when you do that, you're able to produce very quickly and very frequently. And I call you the entrepreneur creator. Anybody that's in this room is someone who is an entrepreneur and desires to be a creator. And you have no time to waste. So what micro content allows us to do is consistently show up without feeling overwhelmed to do so. Now, this is not a do this and don't do YouTube. This is an addition to. As you're filming that YouTube video, if you can knock out another 2 hours and film 30 shorts, much easier to have to be consistently on the radar for certain people. And as we know, consistency equals currency. So, and at the early stages of establishing authority, you have a lot of competition and people don't have a lot of time. So you need to be able to grab their attention quickly and then ask for commitment from them later. So by being on their radar frequently with these small commitments, you can then ask for more of their attention over time and more commitment. So that's the whole reasoning for why we even want to do micro content as creator entrepreneurs. Now, the objective here is I want you to put your sales hat down for a second. The objective for making these kind of videos or any kind of content is to generate demand, whether that be hype, excitement, know-how, awareness. And the way we're going to do that is in a 3-step process. And I'm going to cover one of them and then go deep into how you're actually going to take the information that you guys have, that you're consuming on a day-to-day, that you're talking about on a day-to-day, and turn it into content that people want to listen to. The first thing is we are pre-marketing. We are not selling. We are pre-marketing. We are making people aware of who we are, what we do, and what benefit we can offer to them. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to natively share on the platform. So when I say natively share, don't show up on social, Instagram, TikTok, whatever that may be, with a wide angle, with a wide frame video. That's not natively sharing. We want to honor the platform that we are on and make content that is respectful to that platform, meaning we have to make it in a way that that platform wants to continue to share it. And after natively sharing, we're going to drive awareness. The only way that I've known how, outside of being like super entertaining and making these like shocking reaction videos, is through education. And anybody can educate, because many of you are doing things that would be of tremendous benefit if you just let people become aware of it. And sometimes we underestimate the knowledge that we have because we're just so in the thick of it on the day-to-day basis. Now, the way we're going to educate is we're going to meet the audience where they're already at. And I'm going to go into a deep analysis of what this means, because this is probably the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs who are just crushing it or in the thick of it at all times do when they're talking, because they go into immediate sales mode. And when we do that, we're going to do it on the right platform. So if you know who you're targeting, whether it's millennials or maybe single moms, like where is their attention at right now? Where can we get the highest ROI for our effort? And we're going to double down there, and then we're going to repurpose across other platforms, but we're going to focus on one platform at a time. And then we're going to do this with focused subject matter expertise. And Mike kind of covered this. The focused subject matter expertise is going to be dependent on the person you're talking to based on how you frame the information. Meaning, if you are talking to fellow agents, you're going to frame the information differently. It could be the same information, but you're framing it differently. It more than likely will be different information as well, versus when you're talking to buyers and sellers. So let's break the main one down, which is meeting them where they're at and speaking to them where they are. And if you haven't been taking notes, this is probably the part where you start pulling out that notebook and licking the tip of that pen. So we want to speak to people where they are. There is a journey that people go through. And if you want to think about your own customer, how did they come to find you when they picked up the phone to ask you to buy? I'm sorry, when they asked for your help or when they reached out to you? They probably went through a journey, whether that journey is they talked to a friend, they told the friend that they're interested in selling or buying a house, that friend recommended you, right? It wasn't just like, oh, this person popped up, let me buy from them. In marketing, there's also something called an awareness journey. And when you know your audience, you start to understand, where are they in this journey and how should I speak to them relative to where they're at? So let's walk through this journey so you kind of understand and map out what your person is experiencing right now. So when you create this content, it's done in a way where they're ready and actively prepared to listen. So the first section of the awareness journey is problem unaware. This is a person who has no idea what the problem is that they're experiencing right now. They don't know about houses. They don't know about real estate sales. They don't know that they may even be ready to move. They don't know about interest rates going up. They are just oblivious. The second one is problem aware. This is somebody who has an idea of what's going on and what they need. And now they're like itching to look for a solution. So they know that they're ready to move, for example. Their problem is they just haven't found a house. They don't know the solution just yet. They don't know if they should talk to a bank first, they should talk to a real estate agent first, if they should talk to their financial advisor, if they should talk to their mom, but they know that they're experiencing something that they don't necessarily like. After problem aware, they're solution aware. Now they know that there are options that exist that have the potential of solving their problem, a multitude of options. If we go back to, okay, my mom might be able to help me. She knows Betty, and Betty knows Mike, and Mike knows such and such. Oh, let me go to the bank. Let me go here. Let me go here. They know that there's a lot of solutions, but they haven't decided who to go with just yet. They haven't even narrowed down the pool just yet. And then after that, they're product aware. So from this vast multitude of solutions that exist between banks, real estate agents, loan officers, accountants, insurance agents, family and friends, they have narrowed it down to a select group of products that they are interested in. Now you're in the conversation, and ideally you're part of those products if you are creating content on a regular basis to where you're top of mind. And now, after they're product aware, they have limited that down to being brand aware, aka they are loyal to one solution out of all the products that exist. This is why some of you buy an Apple and never even look at an Android, because you've gone through this journey, and now when you're at the buying decision, you know exactly what brand you're going to be loyal to. A lot of you are on this call because you're loyal to Mike, or you're aware of Mike, and he's a brand that you trust. Now, here's the problem. Many of you, when you're making content right now, or when you're in the early stages of making content, you make only brand aware content. You get on video and you say, yo, it's Michelle from Remax, and I'm really excited to tell you about this new listing that we have, and this and that. I don't even know you yet, Michelle. Why should I listen to you? And who's Remax? Is that something that's significant to me? Right? I don't even need a house just yet. So you go into brand aware mode, which is usually sales mode in the video, which is a selfish position to be in when you're creating content, because you're thinking about what I have versus what they need. So instead, when you're making this content, and you can even notice that the titles and the video scripts that Mike has shared with you, a lot of them that get heavy views are ones that exist in the problem unaware and problem aware stage. And the beauty of this is you can take the same information and frame it in a way that sounds problem aware or problem unaware, because now you're getting a universal appeal to a larger group of people, which is more traffic that then come to find you, right? So your objective is, I want to increase the likelihood of this piece of content getting in front of the most amount of people. The only way to do that is to take the information that I have and frame it in a way that is relatable to someone who is naive about my industry. And there's three things that govern the human experience that you can always frame your content in. And I call them the three wholeness, the three holes, WHOLE. You have relationships, and that's relationships with other people, relationships with yourself, health, that's physical, mental, spiritual, psychological, and freedom. That's the freedom, your autonomy, freedom in being, and financial freedom. If you can frame the information that you have in a way that fits one of those three and targets people that may not even know that you are the solution, you are going to increase your chances for virality. Now, some of what I said probably sounds like code, so let's break it down with a real estate example for you to really contextualize what I'm saying, and then we'll go into the exact framework on how you should script these videos for the maximum virality potential. So we work with a lot of loan officers. So this is on the finance side, not exactly on the real estate agent side. So if there's any LOs in here, what's popping? So a primary example, this is the idea that you want to share, right? You don't have to spend 20% down to buy your first home. Instead, you can use an FHA loan to buy at 3.5%. Now, there's a lot of things here that I can talk about, whether brand aware, product aware. I can be like, here at such and such brokerage, we have this loan product that offers this. But a universal audience does not give a fuck about that. That's more you than it is them. So let's break it down on how this would sound in each stage. So again, primary example, no 20% down to buy your first home. Instead, you want to use an FHA loan. This is for an audience that's completely unaware. So my angle is, people want freedom, people want financial freedom, and people understand a good deal. That's how I'm going to frame this topic. So here's how a single mom purchased a $300,000 home for only $10,000. I understand that buying something that's 300 grand for 10 G's is a steal. And I've left this unanswered question with, how did she do it? Now the viewer is interested. Well, I want to know the how. And when we get into the video, I introduce them very gently to the concept of a FHA loan. And I hope this is making sense. Now, if they are problem aware, meaning they understand that usually you have to put something down. They are familiar with that. And their problem is, well, I don't have 20% down. And I keep hearing that I need 20% down. So if I'm talking to someone who's problem aware, I'm going to say, stop wasting time saving 20% down just to buy your house. Oh, okay. This isn't a problem then? What's the solution? And then we go into the video, and again, we introduce them to FHA. This is really where you want to play these first two stages. But I'm going to show you what it would sound like if you have an audience where you're trying to nurture and then you're trying to sell. So let's say they're aware of the solution even. Now I'm going to say 3 ways to buy a home without having to pay 20% down. And I may introduce them to different loan products that I have as an LO or as a strategic partner to somebody in the finance space. If you're an agent, for example, maybe I'll say a VA loan, maybe I'll say an USDA loan, maybe I'll say conventional loan, whatever that may be. So now I'm introducing them to different solutions, and I'm like slowly introducing my products as well in there and my name, so they know about the brand recognition. And over time, as I continue to show up in front of them, they're like, when they're ready to buy, they're like, oh man, that was the guy that educated me on like how to even finance a home without having to spend so much money. And my trust for you is higher. Now, let's say we're taking this down to the product aware. So it's between you and 2 other people. Now you can start talking about case studies. Now you can start showing examples that are directly related to you and how you're better and why you're better and why they should choose you. So now the hook or the opening line can sound like, how our client closed on a home with only 3.5% down. I want to know how your client did that. What's your process? Walk me through that. And they already know of you. And this is the tipping point to get them into brand aware. And brand aware is something that Mike is technically doing right now. This entire thing is brand aware content. Here's our 3-step framework to buy a house in 30 days. If you give me your email, I would love to give this to you. Or here's a snippet of information sounds like, and then if you give me your email, I'll give you the rest. This is the sales information. So that's how to take one of any idea that you have from your intellectual property and frame it in a way that has a higher potential to go viral. And all you need to remember here is, can I frame it in a way that someone who is completely problem unaware would still want to watch? And to do so, I want to tie it to something they already understand: relationships, health, or freedom. Okay? So that is the thinking behind how to translate your information. Now let's talk about what makes an effective piece of short form content. Okay? Very simple. One sentence broken up into 4 different sections. You want to have one main takeaway that is short and valuable, conveyed clearly with strong copy. Copy as in copywriting. So let me give you an idea of what some of the one main takeaways can be. This is a relatable story or experience. For me, I'm in the space of helping people create better content, but also become stronger communicators. So here's how to present confidently without having to read or memorize. This is relatable. People don't know how to present without reading or memorizing. And then I teach them the solution inside of the video. Another one is a thought-provoking perspective. Is there information out there that you are just not a fan of, that you feel like is misleading? Or maybe you learn something new that will shut down other people's perspective or enlighten the viewer to a new perspective that they may not have thought of. Can we share that? So for this one, it was 5 simple things that actually get you followers. And it was completely different from what everybody else is sharing online at the time. Another takeaway that you can use, and the takeaway, these are themes, right? Themes on how you can package your information. How-to steps. Usually the magic number 3 is perfect to keep people there. There's psychology, science behind it. Stick with 3, no more than 5. Another one is just different hacks and tricks of the trade that you may know, right? And you can even frame it as a hack or trick. Another one is busting myths and existing beliefs. Usually this is in line with, sometimes people don't need the solution. People need to have information to think differently. The end of Mike's presentation was that VST formula, which I think is a fucking banger. That is to help you think differently. Right? Me at the beginning of this presentation, busting the myth of like you need crazy equipment and a very expensive videographer. That's to debunk your existing beliefs. So is there information or is there IP that you have that can debunk people's existing beliefs? And then, especially in the early stages when you're first starting out, when people don't really know you, with short form content, the shorter the better. We've produced thousands of videos at this point. Usually the sweet spot is somewhere under 30 seconds. That's where you want to play. As you grow the audience, as you build more rapport, then you can go beyond that 30-second, but try to use that as a rule of thumb. And some of you may be like, well, damn, how am I going to explain this particular real estate concept in 30 seconds? That's the beauty and the challenge. Once you're able to provide depth of information with brevity, you become someone who is like really fucking dangerous, because the majority of people out here are really complicated with how they talk about things. And that becomes your superpower. So try to fit it in within that 30 seconds. Now, conveyed clearly, just remember these 2 things. Is the organization of how I'm saying this information followable? Do I clearly take the audience from beginning to end? Mike shared with you an outline organization framework. I'm going to share one with you. Pick one, follow it, do it over and over again, then recreate it to your heart's desire. But try to be an artist in training. Artists in training, they copy the master's brush strokes until they get it down perfectly, then they iterate with their own. So take an organization and follow it. And then conveyed clearly also means platform nativity. Is the video vertical? Right? It's not horizontal or small. Are things conveyed clearly, like the subtitles on the screen? Right? And that's something I'm not going to go into. My goal is to help you really take your genius and create content that's effective with the writing piece. There's other things like cameras and stuff like that, which we won't get into. But is it followable? And is it created natively for the platform? And then the last one is there a captivating title? And is there a detailed caption? This is specifically true for YouTube. So the same rules apply. You want a strong title for them to click or at least stop scrolling. And then there's details in the caption that expand on the thought, especially if you're under 30 seconds. So again, one main takeaway that's short and valuable, conveyed clearly with strong copy. Now, let's talk about how to actually take all of this and put it into both topics and then outlines. And I'll show you 2 examples that have gone thermonuclear for some of our clients live, and we'll break them down. So, what is the topic? What is the key takeaway that I want to give to people? Usually takeaways fall into 3 areas. This is the easiest way to kind of distill your thinking and your ideas down into specific areas. One is pain points. The second one is knowledge gaps, and then frequently asked questions. So you should dedicate some time to just ideate, sit down and fill these in. Pain points is, what problems is your ideal person facing? Think about all of the conversations you've had with a home buyer. All the emotional problems they give you, all the familial problems they give you, all the information they don't know, all the financial problems they give you. Just list all of that stuff out and then try to mind map, what answers did I give them? Where did the conversation go? What research did I have to go do? Who did I listen to? What book did I read? And then give the answer to those problems and then make a video about the answer. The second one is knowledge gap. This is probably the most powerful way to think about your information. what would be in their best interest to know that they don't yet know? The best litmus test is when you watch a video and you're like, man, I wish I knew that when I was younger. Or man, I wish I knew that sooner. Some of the most viral videos that you see are ones that it's like a life hack. And then everyone's in the comments like, well, I spent 30 years being a dumbass. Wish I would have known that. So what are some knowledge gaps in the real estate industry that you could educate the buyer or even the agent on, that when they know it, they're like, damn, why has no one told me about this? Just this 30-second video has now gotten me closer to resolving this issue that I've been facing for years. So that's another bucket for you to frame your information in. And then the last one is just very simply frequently asked questions. You can do this on what's trending, right? Frequently asked questions that are asked across the internet, like Quora, Reddit, other things that are not coming to mind right now, or frequently asked questions that you are getting. So here's a life hack for creating content so you don't overwhelm yourself. Whenever you're in a meeting with a buyer, or whenever you're meeting with an agent or a strategic partner, after that meeting, go to have a notes in your iPhone. If you have an Android, I'm sorry. I think you have notes sections in there. And then just have that as a running log for content and break it up into pain points, knowledge gaps, and frequently asked questions. Because you won't remember something after it's happened, but at least just document it. So write the question and then write like the thought that's coming into your mind right then and there, and then you can come back to it later and make intentional content out of it. So those are the three. And we're going to take the topic that we generate now and organize it into the formula. And Mike knows this. I've only shared this in a mastermind that me and him are together. This is the bread and butter for how we are able to make content for our clients. And I'm sharing it with you because I want you to win. I want you to take this and, like he said, apply the knowledge. And this is a plug and play framework. We use it for every single client, and we literally just change the information that we add in there. So this is supposed to be a GIF, and you're supposed to be really giddy to get the formula. So here's the formula, okay? It's 8 steps. This is the outline. On-screen title, a hook, an objection, then you're gonna bridge the gap. You're gonna provide the lesson. You're gonna create contrast. You're gonna give an example, and you're gonna give reasoning. Now, that was probably really overwhelming. So the 5 I want you to focus on is just these first 5. Everything else creates depth, and just it's nice to have in the video if it takes the point all the way home. So I'm going to break each one down, and then we're going to literally break down an example. And I'm telling you that this is probably like, I don't know how like your average deal is, but you can just multiply your average deal by 10. That's how much money I just made you on this call if you use this every single day in every single video. So let's break it down. And these are examples of my videos, so you know that we actually cook up what I'm teaching you. All right, on-screen title. Think of it as the thumbnail for YouTube, on-screen title for shorts. The on-screen title is just a derivative of the hook. So the reason why we want this is people are usually scrolling or they're being fed the content, and sometimes it's on mute. So we need to be able, and people read faster than they listen. So that title needs to be like, okay, what am I getting out of this video? What am I getting out of this video? Why should I watch? Why should I click on it? Why should I not stop scrolling? Okay. And the second thing is the hook, which is an opening statement that makes the audience curious about what's to come. So remember this acronym, which is CACTUS. Okay. Capture attention, create curiosity for them to stay. Capture attention, create curiosity. I think I can't remember the other part, but I'll tell you when we're on Q&A because I'll pull it up. CACTUS. Okay. So the title and the hook are both similar to each other. Usually the title is just a shorter version of the hook. And here's just a very simple framework for a hook. I'm literally writing an entire training on hooks. Mike, I'm really excited to share that training with you because I think it's going to just fucking annihilate anybody that talks about hooks, because everyone just says, write a hook, but no one actually knows the science behind writing a good hook or doesn't explain it well. And I assure you, that's just a humble brag. So here's an easy, classic, tried and true hook formula. Say the problem they're having, say the benefit. And here's an easy way to do it. If you are experiencing X, here's how to get X. If you don't have enough money to buy a home, here's how to do so with less than $10,000. If you got burned the last time you were shown a house, here's how to identify the best real estate agent in your market, right? And the more you practice this, the better you're going to get. And I could go on and on about hooks, but I want to get to breaking down these examples. The next part of this outline is the objection. The better you know your audience, the more you can already dismantle their objections before they ever watch the video. So the goal is you want to state upfront the skepticism they have around your topic. So here's how to buy a home even if you don't have 20% down. Even if you don't have 20% down is the objection. Well, Mo, I don't have 20% down to buy a home. Well, what I'm about to tell you, you won't need 20% down. So just stay here, stay curious, and I will give you the answer. And then you want to bridge the gap. A lot of us say things assuming that the audience already understands what this terminology means, what this reference means, before bridging the gap to something else. So you want to inform them on what they need for your lesson to make sense. So for me, for example, and actually, I'll wait on that. I'll show you the example. And once you've then bridged the gap, you can go into the lesson. I'll give an example live. Before you start talking about down payment, maybe the audience needs to be educated on the fact that they can do 95% financing to buy their home, right? So maybe I'm talking to someone who's so money down, and then bridging the gap would be, the cool thing is banks will lend you 95%, sometimes 100% for you to buy the house, and you just pay them off in monthly installments. This is called a home loan, or better known as a mortgage.